Alright, just a quick video on changing the oil on a 2010 Nissan Versa. Supposedly a 2007 and the 2010s are the same. We shall see. Down here is the hood. It'll go pop. I happen to have it popped already, so 7,500 miles is the interval for oil on these. This has a little lever, which you really can't see, right? See the badges is where I always have trouble finding this thing. Okay, there it is. So see where my finger is? Push that to the left. Put that up. The strut that holds this thing up is up here. It goes. I'll show you in a minute. And it goes in this little hole right here. I write everything on here. It makes it easy. I got so many that I work on that I forget. So the oil drain plug is a 14 millimeter. Filter element I'll show you is up in the front. This one happens to be a 1.8 liter, which I didn't think it was, but came time to replace this mount. This is not on the 1.6 liter, so I'm not sure where the oil filter is on the 1.6, but on the 1.8 I will show you. This is the oil filler over here. The oil dipstick is right there. I always pull the oil dipstick. Once again, I always start this before I start videoing, but this is why I do it. Get the factory jack, which is under here. You got carpet in the back, and then a panel here, and you're going to have this laying back here, and in there the jack usually hangs out with the tools, which come in that. Always chock the opposite rear wheel. And I change battery. Okay, so here's your jack, what it looks like. These two little tools, can't see what I'm doing. That goes under there, into that. This little square deal here goes on to there. Take my word for it, it goes on to there. And you turn it that way to get it to go up. There is, you'll see this little place that has these little cutouts. The jack goes right in there. This little sharp edge goes inside the little U on the jack. So if you jack, you always chock the back wheel. I just jack this up, get about an inch off the thing. It gives you access to the under the front of the car. So right back here is your oil pan. Right on the back side of it, right there is the oil plug. I'm using a 14 millimeter socket. To get to the oil filter, this one has 3 screws across the front. These are 10 millimeter heads. And this back corner here is one of these little push pin things. You have to stick something under the head and pop that out. So you pull that out, it pulls back in here, this thing will drop out of there. So 10 millimeters to get those out. That'll drop that, and you can pull that out of the way a little bit. Your oil filter on the 1.8 is right here. So I'm using a stainless steel pan back here. I've drained the oil. I'm going to go ahead and stick the plug back in there. Tighten it up. It doesn't have to go crazy. They say 25 foot-pounds, but bring it so it's snug, and then a little more. Just don't over torque it and strip it out. Let me get that plug back in there, and I will show you what I use on my oil filter. Okay, in my opinion, by far the greatest way to take an oil filter is a pair of oil filter pliers. They adjust big and small, just like a pair of channel locks or slip joint pliers. You got little fingers that grab, so you reach up, do this one-handed, grab a hold of that sucker. Where are we at? There we are. Squeeze, and you pull. It's supposed to be on the hand tight, so not too crazy, and then you can do it by hand. Of course, you want to change your oil when it's engine's warm. By the time it drains out of the oil pan there, it's usually cool enough to grab the oil filter. And then you let this teeny tiny little oil filter drain a little bit. Okay. And then take a little brake cleaner. I usually use my Sure Shot with my little air pumped up sprayer, but these little cans, because you can buy brake cleaner in 5-gallon buckets. You have a sprayer and an air compressor. If not, just give it a little squirt. This also gives you an opportunity to see if there's any leaks and stuff down there. This one happens to be a real low time engine. It was replaced under warranty. They put a new engine in this thing a few years ago under warranty. And also when you're in here, you always want to look around at everything. Anytime they change your tires, they usually look at your front end anyway. And it's very irritating, batteries going out on me like that. Get a little bit of oil, put it on your new oil filter and rub it around the gasket right there. Always want to make sure you got a rag in your pocket. I like Fran filters myself. Kind of hard to keep an eye on that when it's going to feel contact. Just grab a hold of it and tight. Voila! I put my plug in already. You're going to carefully take this out of here. I'm going to go ahead and lower the jack. I'm going to service it and fill it up. Yep. Okay. And and then I'm going to check it for leaks before I put the cover of my stuff back on it. Okay, it takes 5 to 30 oil. It's real easy on the V8s and stuff. They take 5 quarts, and these come in 5 quarts. And because I want this engine to last forever, I'm going to put some Slick 50 in there. I used to have it real easy. They used to put this in. It was the Slick 50 plus enough oil to make a quart of oil, so you just left 1 quart out. Now that's all high mileage. I haven't seen anything else, so I'm gonna put this stuff in there. This only takes 4.4 quarts. So what I'm gonna do is, and since I don't have a funnel, I made a funnel. I happen to have an extra quart of oil thing here. I'm going to go ahead and put a couple of quarts of oil in it, and then I'm gonna put the Slick 50 in there. And then another quart of oil, and then I'm going to start checking the level. I've lowered it with the jack so that it's level. And we're going to cruise from there. So I'm going to put this in. Hopefully I'm not going to spill it. I'm going to do it with both hands so that I don't spill it. And we're going to cruise. Okay, in case you aren't aware, there's a clear side to these things. That's about 2 quarts in. Track. This you want to shake up really good. Dump it in there. If you're not familiar with Slick 50, the idea is it puts a small thin Teflon coating, like your Teflon frying pan theoretically, on a very microscopic level to supposedly make this. You can drive one of these if you run out of oil. They've done studies on airplanes. There used to be a stuff called Microlon, which I put in my little Volkswagen bus. With 100,000 miles, when I pulled the cylinders off, I had to rebuild it. I don't think there was anywhere in the cylinders at all. Pretty impressive. They've had instances where people put them in their airplanes, run out of oil, and fly for like 45 minutes without any oil pressure, and it survived it. Theory. I'm not going to try that theory, but 327,000 miles on my truck when I started at 200,000 miles. So far so good. This one's got, I don't know, 65,000 miles on it, so hopefully it'll stay at 65,000 miles or to wear. Won't wear any more than that. So I'll give that a second to put in there. See how we're doing. You can see that. It's going to be hard to see when it's clear anyway, but it's just barely if touching the bottom of the dipstick. So line to line should be like a quart on that. Those two little holes, you get the bottom, it should take a quart to get to the top one. So let me put another quart of oil and see how we do. Since it only takes 4.5 quarts, basically, I just put about, what, 2.5 quarts, plus that 15 ounces of Slick 50. Always want to wipe your dipstick before you put it in every time, so you get a clean shot at it. Nothing like clean your oil. I'm gonna put a little more in there. I think it's at the bottom of the dipstick now. Try a little more. Okay, I put a little more oil in it. It's still really hard to see, so I know I've got pretty close to at least 4 quarts of oil in there, so I'm going to go ahead and start it up. Do a leak check. I should probably put the keys in it. Check and see if anything was just dumping out of it. Where is our
Bluetooth?
Where's my oil? There it is down there, that little. Alright, that goes out. I don't have an oil pressure gauge, it's just a warning light. Like a little sewing machine. Nothing leaking out of there. Nothing leaking out of there. Something dripping right there. It's probably part of the air conditioning or something. I'll stick my finger in there. Now we're gonna let this run a little bit. See, maybe I can get a mark on that dipstick. Read a little easier. By the way, first thing you can use. A little Sharpie paint marker pens. I'm going to write on the side of the door over there when the next oil change is due. I had it in the glove box in the manual, but then you got to open that up to see it, so I'm going to put it right where you can see it. Keep a better eye on it. Let's see how this does. Okay, let it run for a few minutes. 5 minutes. Had no leaks, so I button it back up with the 3 bolts in the front and a little clip in that back corner. See if I can see the oil any better. Look at that, looks like I can. Check your oil, you always pull it out, wipe it, give it a fresh poke. So clean. Alright, I'm going to say it's down there. I need some more still. Huh. Well, that's what what it wants. So anyway, I'm just going to put a little more in it at a time until I get it up to the top up here. I can see it. And then the final thing, as I mentioned, inside the door, just go ahead and write that right under there. Allows you to keep an eye on it. And then when you're done, if you use all this oil up, now in my case, whatever's left, I'm going to put in a spare 1 quart can to keep with me, and then this oil I'm going to dump back into here, take it to the auto parts store for recycling, and off and away we go.